Russia may still be out in the cold in terms of the international athletics community, but it's set to become the centre of the footballing world, as we've been reminded here in St. Petersburg, with 100 days to go until the start of the Confederations Cup, the traditional World Cup warm-up tournament. The stadium here is no doubt ready to go, along with all 3 others that will be used in June's tournament, and the other 8 which will be used at next year's World Cup are all well on course as well. But for all the success, the negative headlines continue to dominate.
It's no secret that there are occasional materials in foreign media which are either far from truth or contain facts which are put together in a very biased mode.
There are some facts, though, that are hard to dispute. Just this week, Igor Lebedev, a Russian MP, called for hooliganism to be made a legal sport, raising fears for the safety of fans travelling to support their teams here in Russia. The most senior Russian implicated in the McLaren report into the state-sponsored doping programme, Vitaly Mutko, has been promoted from sports minister to deputy prime minister. He remains the man in charge of making the World Cup happen. And the decision to appoint a man who previously denied the presence of racism in Russian football to lead the anti-racism in Russian football, to lead the anti-racism task force, former player Alexei Smertin, has raised questions about whether or not tournament organisers are taking it seriously. Are you happy that he is the person to lead the anti-racism mission here in Russia, given his comments from a couple of years ago where he said racism doesn't exist?
Well, first I think that we need to give everybody who is a member of these committees a chance to get educated on what do we mean by fighting racism. And Alexei is no exception. I just think that we need to give them time to learn what we are demanding in this kind of context.
Should therefore somebody else who does understand the magnitude of the problem be leading the task force?
Well, I think that
Should therefore somebody else who does understand the magnitude of the problem be leading the task force?
Well, I think that he's a good representation of the Russian. He is well-known, well-appreciated.
It was 3 years ago that Russia last hosted a major international sporting event, the Winter Olympics in Sochi. I was there as Russia pulled it off and heralded their great moment on the international stage. A whole lot has happened since then, both on the political and the sporting stage, and the international focus is on an altogether different scale. But whilst it's made the Russian organisers, and above that the Kremlin, more determined than ever to make this year's Confederations Cup and next year's World Cup a success, you suspect it will take a whole lot more than that to restore Russia's reputation and sporting integrity. Amanda Davies, CNN, St. Petersburg, Russia.